Hoop Talk, we are back. You see, we got the new intro with a little music. Not too bad right there. Shout out to Anitra, my cousin, making things happen. What up, man?
That was great, man. I was, moving and grooving in that little intro. I like that. She did a great job. Props to Anitra.
Ready to vibe. She does all the real work around here. I just show up.
No, she's great. She is great. She's great.
No, that's true. So, all right, let's get opening convo. I figured out my computer, something I got to do with my computer. I just freeze every now and then randomly. I don't know why, no matter where I am, no matter what Wi-Fi I'm on. So that's another story for another day. But opening convo, let's talk first. What do you do for Selection Sunday? Do you have like a ritual? Do you have something that you do every time? Is it just kind of random?
Yeah, just kind of random, like the whole family. Everybody gathers around and we like to watch. I mean, it's exciting and it's a special time. It's a special time for a lot of teams, and it's an exciting time. So, we love it. We like to gather around and watch as a family. It's always been a good thing for us. What about you? Any rituals? Anything that you do?
No, I mean it's kind of changing now that I'm in this space of like I've actually called games for multiple teams in the tournament. So it's just it feels different. It felt different this time. But I was actually driving back from calling. I broadcast my younger brother's games. He was in the D2 national tournament at Texas A&M Commerce. They won their first round game. Did not win their second round game. They lost to the defending national champions. But I was driving back from West Texas, and so I ended up stopping in Wichita Falls, which is where my wife used to be a head coach, and trying to figure out where can I go and watch the game, and watch the and actually listen to it and hear it.
Yeah.
So I found the right little hotel off to the side, watched the whole couple hours, and then drove home. So don't have any real rituals though, but I'm getting more into it now, like the actual details of it, like who plays who and where is it going to be and all of that stuff. I'm into it more now because we talk about it all year long. So a little different now than when I was in it. I hadn't had the pleasure of being in it. I think people kind of forget like 68 teams go, but there's 350 plus teams in the NCAA. So really hard to get in, especially when you're in one bid leagues. You have to win the tournament. I've been around a lot of 20 plus win seasons and turnaround seasons, but having that next step, hard to do, man. Hard to do.
It is hard, and it's like you said. I think it's a little bit different on this side of it now too. I think back when you and I were coaching, you're very focused on your team and what's going on there. But now on this side of it, you're kind of more aware of everybody, and
no doubt,
you're really aware of the bubble teams and who made it and who didn't and who's going where and good matchups. So it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun right now when you know a lot more.
I would say so. A lot more stressful because normally by the time Selection Sunday comes, we're on the road, probably like national tournament. We'll talk about JUCO national tournament, but you're going recruiting. The season's over. You're going recruiting. You may be able to catch the bracket afterwards, but you don't sit there and watch Selection Sunday and see everything that's happening. You're not quite as plugged in.
Right. That's right.
Trying to figure out how to get your next dues so you can be in there the following year.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll just jump into straight into smaller college tournaments that are non-Division I, we'll say. So we'll start with the NJCA national tournament. Have you followed much of it? I know we're in day 2. We got some outcomes and some scores.
Yeah. What's interesting, Brian, and I'm a champion of the small college guy. I've been there and I love it. So we talk about the NJCA Division I tournament at Hutch, which is going on right now. We'll talk about that in a second. But how about the JUCO Division II and Division III tournaments too? Those are happening. So just quick shout out, Division III national tournament. Dallas Northlake won the whole thing last week, beat Genesee 83-80 in overtime. Great game. Actually, that was Dallas Northlake's 4th national title. So, kudos to them. Division III NJCA national champs. And then the Division II tournament actually starts today. So whatever today is, we're filming this on Tuesday, Brian, right? So today in Danville, Illinois, and that should be a good one. South Suburban College right now, 30-0. number one seed there. So that's somebody to look out for. So those small ones, Division II and Division III are a lot of fun to watch too. But then obviously, Hutch, that's where there's a lot of coaches there right now. a lot of great things going on right now. So that'll be interesting to follow. Like you said, games going on right now. I think Salt Lake City Community College just wrapped up a little bit ago. They're the number one overall seed, 32-1. They are really, really, really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
I got a chance to see him practice during the year. Saw him play early in the scrimmage season, but got a chance to watch him practice early in the year. Deep team, a lot of talent. Didn't know that they were going to run the table as much as they have, but they've been number one since the preseason poll all the way through, which rarely ever happens at any level. So mad props to Coach Taylor and his staff there at Salt Lake. I was going to pull up so I can go back to JUCO. So I started, my first job was at Richland Junior College, Division III, in the same conference as Northlake. Coach Tim McGraw, shout out to him. I know he's got some good staff there this year that's helping him, that's making sure the scores are out there. I want to say Josh as one of his assistants. So shout out to Josh as well. Congratulations to you guys. But yeah, we finished my first year. We won the conference. We beat Northlake before we went. We finished third. We lost in overtime in the semis, and then we won the third place game. So Delhi, New York, remember it like it was yesterday, man. So good times at the Division III JUCO level.
Yeah, it's fun. It is. It's fun stuff at those smaller levels. Like you said, Hutch, the guys going to Hutch get a lot of attention right now. But those Division IIs and IIIs, they got a lot of good players, a lot of good coaches down there. So props to them for getting it done down there too.
Yeah, so second round in Hutch, you can find out all that information. I think the games are still going on today. I know South Plains won this morning. I know there's some other games going on. So, yeah, we got all kinds of stuff going on in the JUCO level. So, and the women start tomorrow in Lubbock, I believe. So, quick shout out to them too. D3, what's the latest in NJCA tournament D3? I don't actually know, but that's why we got a partnership here, so I can ask you.
So NCAA Division III tournament, they're down to the Final Four right now.
Nice.
Going in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Really interesting. So Final Four teams, Randolph-Macon is going to play Marietta, and Wabash is going to play Elmhurst. Most interesting thing, though, in that first game, Randolph-Macon and Marietta, that's number 1 and number 2 teams in the country going at it in the semifinals. So that's an interesting matchup. Randolph-Macon is 31-1. They went 16-0 in the ODAC. Marietta's 29-2, went undefeated in their league, 17-0. So I think whoever wins that game's got a pretty good chance to win this whole thing. Not take anything away from the other teams in there, the other two. But D3 Final Four right now. That should be some good basketball starting Friday.
Nice, big time. And the championship game is when? Do they play back to back, or do they give
it Friday, Sunday, Brian? Don't quote me on that, but I think it's Friday, Sunday. It's usually Friday, Sunday.
Give them a day in between. I like it. All right. Good stuff. So let's go D2. We just had I was just a part of the women's side. I know West Texas A&M is going to Elite 8 from that region that my brother's team was in, Texas A&M Commerce.
Yep.
And congratulations to them, Coach Josh Prock. What's going on the men's side? I don't even know.
Yeah, so men's side, today is the Sweet 16 games today. So by the time this thing airs, we'll be down to 8. But some really good teams left. Obviously, Nova Southeastern, Jim Crutchfield's team is really, really good at 30-0. But there are some great teams left too. You look at Queens, University of Charlotte, Northwest Missouri State, some really strong teams. But I'll tell you what, Brian, as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna log on and watch St. Thomas Aquinas and Bentley. Unbelievable game up here in the New England region.
So are you going in person or are you watching online?
No, I wish I was going. I'm just going to watch here. And it's not far. I probably should have planned this better and tried to head over there. But I think it's going to be a great game. Jay Lawson's done a great job for years and years and years at Bentley, and St. Thomas Aquinas is really, really good. Tobin Anderson's squad. So should be a real good game.
Yeah, let me see if I can share this, see if this is correct. I don't know if it is. Let's pull it. Still working out the kinks here, but I think we have the pull up. Let's see if this is correct. Adam, of course, can tell me if it is not.
That is correct. You got it. You are on the money right there. That is the top half of that bracket. Yeah, some good teams with Nova Southeastern in there, and Queens and Northwest Missouri State. Strong bracket there.
And I think there's so this is kind of what's
there's the bottom half. We talked about Bentley and St. Thomas Aquinas tonight. It looks like we got some finals in from today already too, with Chico State winning and Hillsdale winning. So games going on right now. Sweet 16, love it. Division II, Sweet 16.
Yeah, getting down to it. All right, we're getting through. So now we got to talk about the big tournament that everybody was so used to. See if I can pull up that bracket. We'll have to pull this one down. All right, let's get to Division I. So now we're at the March Madness. Anybody stick out to you that you were like either excited that they got in, disappointed that they didn't, or you just loved a certain matchup when you first heard?
Yeah, you know what? So I like I'm a matchup guy, right? I like matchup, and especially like matchups from like a coaching perspective, right? So there's a few that really stand out to me.
Storylines,
yeah, and like the first one is Arkansas and Vermont. Like what a cool game that is, you got two really kind of contrasting coaches. Like Eric Musselman is he's all in, man. He's all over the place. He's going to take his shirt off. He's going to wear the loud shoes and this and that. And then you got John Becker, who's pretty stoic and really does nothing but win at Vermont. Vermont ran through their conference tournament, nobody was within 30 points any game, in the conference tournament. They've been great. So I think that's going to be a really, really good game. That's a game I'm looking forward to. And, same thing. I love those, kind of 4 versus 13 games.
I'm going to go ahead and pick Vermont in that game for my bracket.
Okay. I like that.
Bust, but I just think the older team, shot making, they're so good at what they do. Plus, you got to pick some upsets. I mean, no offense to the big dog, but you got to pick some upsets. So I'm going with Vermont.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. And like you said, they shoot a really high percentage. They're a good, veteran team. And I think I'd like to go with you on that one, Brian. I just, I worry that, they just haven't been tested in a long time. No one's been competitive with them in a long time. They've just been blowing teams out. So I think the first time that Arkansas punches them in the mouth tomorrow, be curious to see how they react.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, the other one, and again, we're looking at kind of, fun matchups. Look at this Providence and South Dakota State matchup.
Hey, I was thinking about that same one.
Golly, I mean, Providence has been great all year. Coach Cooley's done a great job, obviously. But South Dakota State, man, they've won like 21 in a row. They are running people out of the place. They score a ton of points. That's going to be, I think that's going to be a really, really good game. That's going to be a really good 4 versus 13 game. If I'm Providence and I'm watching that selection show, I might have been be a little bit nervous when South Dakota popped up.
It's funny because they actually had them on the screen when it was going on, and they still had them as they were saying who they played against, and it wasn't any reaction any way or the other. But it's like, we gotta play them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you win the Big East for the first time ever.
Yep.
And that's your prize. You get to play an undefeated. And we know Oral Roberts from the same league went to the Sweet 16 last year. So
that's right.
We know how dangerous teams in that slot and coming from that league. Very high power offensive league.
Yeah.
And that team is I don't say who I'm picking in that game because I'm going to pick all the underdogs, but man, it's tough. Ed Cooley might be national coach of the year too, but get that matchup, that's tough. Yep. What else stood out? A couple more that stood out to you.
Even though there's so many good games. I mean, I think one of the other ones was Memphis and Boise State, an 8-9 matchup.
I agree.
What Penny Hardaway has done, since mid-January has been unbelievable. They were 9-8, 3-4 3-4 in the league at one point, and they ripped off a bunch in a row. Have won 22 games this year. They've been really good.
One of the hottest teams in the country, to be honest, playing in the way they played and getting addition by subtraction, getting parting ways with Imani Bates, however you look at it, was one of the best things that could have happened to them because now they're playing like and people actually question if Penny can coach. And sometimes when you have those kind of personalities and all the hype around them, sometimes if they don't want to do it, it's hard to coach those dudes, man. And if you can move on, it's probably a relief to everybody in the program, and they've taken off since.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. And you've been there. I've been there. We've all been there at different levels, but you're right. It is addition by subtraction, unfortunately. And guys, tend to rally around that. And obviously did in Memphis's case. And I'm really happy to see them playing well. And I think Boise State's been really good too. I think that's going to be a really, really good game. I'm looking forward to that one.
Boise to win the Mountain West with 4 teams in the tournament, and to win the Mountain West tournament. Yeah, one of the best defensive teams in the country. I think their adjusted efficiency there. I called their game early in conference play, and they were second at that time. So I'm sure they're probably still top 5, but really, really good defensive team. They're kind of known of being an offensive program, but this is a grind, defensive, tough-minded team. And they beat San Diego State, Wyoming. They did not beat Colorado State, though. So I think I'm going to go Boise on that one, even though I know some people may not like that. I got some boys at Memphis, but I'm going to go Boise on that one. I'll just blame it on Mountain West bias. I just blame it on.
I'm with you. So that's the one. We'll differ on that one because I'll go Memphis on that one.
Okay, good. Good.
I like, I think Penny's got them playing well. I think they're focused. I think they'll be ready to roll.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Though. That's one of the better ones. All right, we'll go one more specific matchup, and then we may dive into kind of some of the brackets. I will say I was really excited. Like I told myself I wasn't going to scream, and I don't mind being biased. I call games for this team, but man, when Wyoming was the last team in, man, I literally was like screaming at the television. Like I'm sure the people in that hotel were like, "What's wrong with this guy?" I had to stand up for a second. I was like, "All right, they got to get in this last playing game, or they're not in." So like I was kind of standing up, and the next thing you know, I was like yelling at the TV, and I was excited. I mean, they've had a special year to get in the top 25. They were picked 8th in the Mountain West. It was really brutal for them. Played like 5 games in the last 10 days, I want to say. But for them to get in, I was really excited because it's great for the Mountain West. And just, like I say, Coach Linder and his staff and that team deserves to be in. So they play tonight. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, no, you're right. You know Wyoming a lot better than I do, and I'm glad they got in. And I'm looking forward to actually watching them now too, and seeing what you've been seeing all year.
Yeah, highest scoring duo in the country. Their point guard and their big has been the highest scoring duo in the country all year. Big man led Mountain West in scoring. Guard led Maldonado led in assists. So they definitely have quite a combination that they put together. All right, let's jump into a little bit of this bracket. Let's see if I can pull this thing up for you, for us. And
yeah, for us, we need your opinion. You've seen a lot of these teams a lot more than I have. I want to hear what you got, especially.
Let's jump into it a little bit. The best part about the bracket, though, this is what I love this time of year. It doesn't even matter if you've seen or haven't seen. Like, you have an opportunity to be right, even if you've never watched college basketball all year. And that's what people love about the tournament, though. People love the excitement, the storyline, but they also just love, like, anybody can kind of get their picks right. So we got our playing games. I don't know if they see both of them on there, but obviously we got Wyoming, Indiana tonight, and then we have, if I'm not mistaken, Texas Southern and Corpus Christi. Is that tonight or is that next? Is that the next one?
That's a good question, Brian. That is a great question.
I'm gonna look on my phone. All right, so who you got in the playing game?
Well, which one do you want to go?
Any of the playing games.
So let the first one, the Bryant and Wright State game, right? Bryant's a pretty exciting team to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm obviously a New England guy. They've got the nation's leading scorer. They play hard. They get a little chippy, but I think Bryant. I would take Bryant in that Bryant versus Wright State matchup.
Yeah, I like that pick. Actually, I like what I've seen from Bryant. I think they've gotten it going. And they have one, like you said, a leading scorer in the country who's a bucket, and I just think they're going to come in with a chip on the shoulder. But Wright State's a high-powered offense too. I mean, they've scored a lot of points along the way and got hot and have won the league a couple of times in the Horizon, just hadn't been able to break through and get into the tournament. And Coach Nat able to get in this time. So excited to see that game because I do think it'll be a high-scoring game. But I'm I'm gonna go with the underdog in that one and say Bryant. Notre Dame, Rutgers. Now you talk about two teams that I think whatever team wins that game is going to have a chance to win their next game, which most of the time, I mean, you go back to UCLA, they made it all the way to the Final Four, and they were in this playing game. And these two teams may not quite be Final Four, but Rutgers has more quad one wins in the recent last few months of the season, and Notre Dame's played some elite level basketball too. So I do think the winner of that game has a chance to make a run. I don't know if I have a pick on that one. I'm just going to say they're going to make a run, whoever wins.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you have two pretty good teams, and, and I always bring it back to coaching, right? You've got two really good coaches going at it. And I like to see, Mike Bray, what he does with his Notre Dame teams. I think that's going to be a good game. And, it's funny, you talk about some of these first four games, whatever, these playing games, whatever you want to call them, like, this is a really good game. You're talking about Notre Dame and Rutgers in the NCAA tournament. Like, this is a really good game to watch. And like you said, I think whoever wins this probably has a chance to win another game or two in this thing. So that's going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, I think that's where the selection committee and the tournament got smart. Instead of just having all smaller colleges playing in the playing game, you'll notice there's always that Power 5 matchup and then the lower level, the mid-major quote unquote matchup. So definitely a good one there. And then tonight we do have those other two games I mentioned, Texas Southern and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Steve Lutz taking his team in the first year, former Purdue assistant, does a tremendous job near his hometown. I think he's from San Antonio, so big time. I think they were the 4th seed in the tournament. So they're going, and they're 23-11, and then Texas Southern, Johnny Jones, already had a big win last year in the tournament. Back at it again. It's hard for me to pick in that one too. Two Texas teams, so I'm already biased on that part. But I'm going to go with the new guys. Texas Southern got their win last year. Johnny Jones knows what it takes to win in March, but I'm going to go with this Texas A&M Corpus Christi team and just the way they played at the end of the year, and they've been hot, and going to go with the former Southland team since I was in the South, but I'm going to go biased.
Yeah, and I'm going to lean on you on that one. That is your part of the world. You got a lot more knowledge. You've seen a lot more of those guys than I have. But the job that Steve Lutz has done at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, phenomenal in year one, and I'm looking forward to watching the game.
It's actually going to be on in just a little bit, so we'll have to turn on in the background. And then Wyoming, I mean, it just goes without saying I'm biased on that one. I got to go with Wyoming. Spent a lot of time out there watching that team and covering that team all year, and got a chance to see them beat Boise at home, and got a chance to see them, play some of their best basketball at home this year, broadcasting. So got to go with them in that one. Obviously, Indiana had a good run in the tournament, and we know Mike Woodson's done a good job, but my bias is just going to be straightforward on that one.
Yeah. And I hear you. And like you said, I've listened to you a lot about Wyoming, and I'm looking forward to watching them play. But, I love what Mike Woodson has done in Indiana this year. I mean, what a good job he has done. He's an Indiana guy, stabilized that program. They started playing really, really well towards the end. I would really, personally, I would like to see Indiana win that game.
Yeah, for sure.
When Mike Woodson got hired at Indiana last year, I mean, there was a lot of people that were not happy with that hire.
There was a majority of people were not happy.
Yeah, it wasn't a quote unquote sexy hire, but in reality, it was exactly what Indiana needed. You talk about kind of, like you said, he's an Indiana guy, and that's what they needed. To bring that program back to glory. So I really, I think it's gonna be a great game. I would like to see Coach Woodson win that game, though.
Yeah, I think it's great about the tournament, and it's kind of like winning job or getting jobs, or we don't want to see people lose their jobs. Like, we don't want to see anybody losing the tournament, but somebody's got to lose. So we're just making some random picks based on some biases. But ultimately, the best part about the tournament is just watching to see how it all unfolds, no matter who wins. Like, we're pretty much happy most of the time at home because it's just big time games, and anytime you can advance in the tournament, man, there's nothing like it.
That's right.
All right, so we got to play in games. Anything else that sticks out that we just want to touch on? So obviously the different regions, everybody's got a different opinion. I haven't filled out my bracket yet, so we can probably talk about that next time. But I do like Arizona in this tournament. I think they're going to do well. I do think Gonzaga is going to make another run. I think this Kansas team is as good of a Kansas team has been in the tournament in a while, and I think they're kind of tournament ready. So those are 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds. Baylor has just always kind of defied the odds right now. They've continued to do it in the Big 12. So I know they're not at full strength, but I would not be surprised to see them just continue to make a run. But those are the 4 number 1 seeds. I know a lot of people love what Kentucky has done. So I think they have a great chance. Obviously, one of the best players in the country, and they have a Texas point guard, Xavier Wheeler. So we know we got to show love there. I was the first one to ever offer. I want to say that on Hoop Talk. I was the first one to offer him. I think he might have been in 8th grade, but I was like, yeah, this guy's he's the real deal. Yeah, I don't care how tall he is. He's the real deal. Yeah, I think I think so. My Mountain West bias, Colorado State. I'm hoping they can make a little bit of run. I would not be surprised to see TCU get some things done. They've beaten more top 25 teams this year than they ever have in school history. So I think they got a little firepower in the tank. And let me see if I can pick one more real quick. I think that San Fran Murray State matchup. I hate the fact that they're playing in the first round because one of them has to go home. But on the flip side, one of them will for sure advance. So I do think that game is going to be a super high-level played game between 2 teams that have been 2 of the best mid-majors all year. Murray State's hard to beat, though. I think this Murray State team has a chance to go Sweet 16. So that's my random thoughts.
I like it. And you know what? So when we were talking about kind of, interesting matchups to start this thing, that was one that I was going to talk about too. That Murray State San Francisco game. Wow. What a first round matchup. I mean, what Matt McMahon has done at Murray State, what Todd Colton's done at San Francisco. I mean, those 2 programs have had great seasons. So you said it's a shame that one of them's got to go home. But you know what? One of them's going to keep playing.
Yeah, one of them keeps playing, and it's kind of a cool thing. Normally you don't see 2 mid-majors play in the first round, and that says a lot of respect to what both teams have earned. So got to give credit there. And then similar to that Memphis Boise State, there's kind of 2 mid-majors as well. People would say Memphis maybe in the high major category, whatever. I do think St. Mary's, keep an eye on them. They did beat Gonzaga, so they obviously have a ability in this tournament. I think Coach K, what kind of whistle is Coach K going to get in his last NCAA tournament? It's going to be great to watch. I feel bad for the teams playing against them. I think Texas Tech has the defense that can travel in this tournament and can get them a lot of gritty wins to help them make a Sweet 16 run. And then see if I can pick one more. I don't know. I think Auburn has struggled to end it, but I think if they can – I think they've struggled mainly because they won the SEC, number 1 projected player in the draft. Kessler is obviously one of the best rim protectors, if not the best one, outside of Chet. So I think Auburn got a chance to make a run too.
I agree with you, and I actually really like Auburn. I think they've been really good at home this year. They struggled a little bit on the road, but now we're playing on neutral site, so it might be a little bit different. I really like Auburn, and like I'm a big SEC guy. I love Kentucky in this thing. I love the way they've been playing. I love Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite players in the country to watch right now. So I think those 2 teams can make some noise. But talking about the SEC, you can't sleep on Tennessee.
I agree, yeah.
Tennessee has been like a silent assassin all year. Some of these teams, Auburn and Arkansas and Kentucky have been getting a lot of hype. But, Tennessee has been really, really good. Don't sleep on Tennessee. It's a shame that Tennessee is on Arizona's side of the bracket, that they're in there with them. Because I think, Arizona is my national champion. I mean, I think Arizona is going to win the whole thing. I think they're so big. They're so athletic. They can score. Coach Lloyd's done such a good job in year 1 there. Again, kind of righting the ship, settling things down, being a calming influence. I think they are so good right now that they're going to be really, really hard to beat. But there's, like I said, Kentucky's so much fun to watch. Auburn's fun to watch. Tennessee's fun to watch. There's going to be some really, really good games, and I can't wait for this thing to get going.
Yeah, I can't wait. It starts. I think it's starting in a matter of minutes for the first playing game. I'm gonna bring up 2 more things real quick, and then we'll go straight to the stuff that people really want to know about, which is the job talk. But before we get to that, I'm gonna pull up, if I can. I'm gonna pull up this NIT tournament and just give the NIT a little bit of love. I know people.
Brian, we're gonna have to talk about one more thing too, so we don't get yelled at by some coaches here.
Yeah. What you got?
Go back. We talked about the JUCO tournament. We talked about Division
NAIA. I left it out.
We got to go back to the NAIAs.
I have it right here. I left it out. That's on me. So
love those guys. Can't leave those guys out.
All right, let's go NAIA first, and I'll let you lead the way on that.
Yep.
And then I will next go to the NIT and CBI.
Love it. Yeah, so the NAIA right now, they're in their Sweet 16 in Kansas City. Games are Thursday and Friday. They get down to 8 on Saturday. They get down to 4 on Monday, and the national championships on Tuesday. They just play and play and play. I love it. 2 great teams right now at the NAIA level, and there's a lot. I mean, there's 16 teams left. There's some good, but two that I think you should really watch. Loyola of New Orleans, 33-1 right now. Stacey Hollowell's done an unbelievable job with those guys. 33-1. That's not easy to do. And then Talladega, the job that Chris Wright has done there. They're 29-5. Been playing great all year. So I think there's some really good teams left, but I think those teams are really 2 teams to watch. And I think the nice thing about the NAIA national tournament on Tuesday, the national championship game is going to be on ESPN3. So if you can hop into your ESPN app, watch that game, that's going to be whoever's in there. There's some really good teams left. So I am looking forward to Tuesday night watching that national championship game.
That's huge. What are some of the other teams? Let's just mention some of the other teams in it, if you don't mind, real quick.
I lost my bracket, Brian.
That's all right. See if I can pull it up. We got computer access. Now that's the beauty of these things. They don't put you on the spot anymore.
I know, right?
You get to pull things up on your computer, on your iPad, on a different tab. We want to make sure we give some of these teams shout out. Where is the NAIA tournament? I think you already said.
We're in Kansas City.
Kansas City. It's usually always in Kansas City. I think that is a cool part about it too. Like a lot of the tournaments are not going on at the same time when it starts, so they get their own selection Sunday. Normally have it a week before or week and a half before. So they're ending as this tournament still goes on.
Yep. And the nice thing too with the NAIA tournament, up until the final 16 teams here, they've played at campus sites and kind of in pods or whatever they call them, Yep. But now they get to come together as a 16, so it's a pretty cool tournament. Quadrants, that's what they call them, quadrants.
Yeah, let's see. I got the championship schedule. You may have it before me. I don't have the teams in here yet though. This shows where I'm slacking a little bit. We're totally getting this thing together. Hoop talk,
Hey, you know what? That's how we do. We're on the fly here. That's what we do.
Yeah, we're trending upward, man. We're keep going up. All right, we got.
I got some. So there's some really good games coming up too, and some good games. Friday, Oklahoma Wesleyan and LSU Shreveport. Really good game there. Where we got? Yeah, Loyola plays on Thursday against Faulkner. Arizona Christian and Bethel on Thursday, another good game. William Jessup, Indiana Wesleyan. I mean, there's some really good NAIA games going on right now. So, nice. Like I said, I mean, the teams that I like Talladega a lot. I like Loyola, New Orleans a lot. But man, you look at this bracket, and there are some really, really strong. Now that Friday, Talladega against Jamestown from North Dakota, going to be a great game. So this is going to be a really good tournament to watch. So, shout out to those NAIA guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to my boy Larry Cordero, continuing with. Did you say LSU's Alexandria?
No, not Alex. So LSU Shreveport, LSU Alexandria. They were in it. I'd like to say.
I like it. So Shreveport is in it. Shreveport and Alexandria. I mean, LSUA and LSUS have both been really good at the NAIA level, and most people don't know a lot about this level, but there's definitely some high-level basketball players and coaches, and a lot of people that have come up through the ranks from playing this tournament. So definitely shout out to them. We want to make sure we show that love, and then we'll get to this NIT tournament. And we'll get to real quick. We'll just show the NIT bracket if I can pull it up. Production team is just on me today. Dietrich's out of town, it's just all on me. So I gotta show up, perform. No, here we go.
You're a multitasker. I like it.
I think this is it. Nope, that's a tournament. Wrong one. Hold on. Stop sharing that one. It's got rookies in here, man. Get that one out of the way. Share. So, they actually start tonight. NIT starts tonight. So, Working out the kinks here. All right.
There we go.
There we go. NIT. So number 1 seed Dayton, number 1 seed SMU, number 1 seed Texas A&M, and number 1 seed Oklahoma. Basically, the first 4 out are the number 1 seeds. And it goes all the way to March 31st, which is right up until Final Four time. But yeah, basically all the teams that were – what normally happens with this is if you won your conference tournament – if you won your regular season in Division I, then you get an automatic bid to the NIT. Now, there are some exceptions to that. If you're like the WAC, where you share a title, since New Mexico State went, neither team, Stephen F. Austin or Seattle, got a bid for that reason. But a lot of good teams in here. I'll let you just shout out anybody that you think.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, a lot of good teams, and I think obviously looking at Texas A&M in there, I think that's a team that should be playing in the NCAA tournament. Texas A&M, without it, in my mind, should have made it, but I think they should make a run in this thing. But the game that I really like here is the Wake Forest and Towson game.
Wake, great year.
Yeah, and you know what? Wake had a good year until they lost to Boston College. That was not a good game for Wake. And Towson had a really, really good year. Towson was great. And then they bowed out in the semifinals of the CAA. So that's kind of two teams I think with probably a little bit of chip on their shoulder. Wake probably thinking they should be in the NCAA tournament. They should have made it. They would have beaten College. They're probably in. And Towson, probably thinking they should have won the CAA and been in the NCAA tournament. So I think that's two teams with some big time chips on their shoulder. And I think obviously a lot of teams in the NIT have a chip on their shoulder, thinking that they should be in the NCAA tournament. But I'm really interested to see that Wake Forest and Towson game. I think too.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Adonis Williams get Player of the Year in the ACC
from Wake?
Yeah.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, I think he did too. So yeah, they're obviously Steve Forbes does a terrific job, and he's turned that program around. And I think the thing about the NIT, CBI, all these tournaments is like if your team can't get over the fact they're not in the tournament, some teams struggle with that. And they just don't have the same motivation. And then some teams do use that as fuel to say, hey, let's go win it. So it can go either way, and I think it's a lot harder. But these are true road games, too. There's not a neutral site for these games. So that's another thing to factor in is like Towson's going to Wake Forest to try to go win that game. SMU is hosting Nichols. North Texas is hosting Texas State. And North Texas won 15 games in a row. At one point in time in the year, which is pretty incredible. They're a 2 seed. Xavier is another team that was talked about in the tournament. BYU was in the tournament picture most of the year. So there's a lot of good teams left, mid-major and high major, at this juncture in time. So I'm sure Oklahoma wants to make their run. They had a good finish to the season. So, yeah, it's going to be really good. St. Bonaventure is a team that was kind of top 25 early in the year. Missouri State's got one of the best guards in the country, really duos in Prim and Isaiah Mosley. So Northern Iowa won the Missouri Valley. They're in it. Santa Clara had a big-time year in the WCC. Vanderbilt with Pippen is one of the better players in this event. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see kind of who does well in this as well. Colorado had a really good end to the year. I think they finished 4th in the Pac-12. Normally that automatically gets you in, but not this year. So yeah, big time stuff here on the NIT, and I think we have a CBI bracket as well. If I can pull this up, and we'll
love it.
We're rocking through it today, man. We're on a mission.
It's how we roll.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it. so much good basketball, and it's like everybody only talks about one particular level, and we want to make sure we cover as much as we can because we've come up through these ranks. So
right.
we know what this stuff is all about. So yeah, let's see if we can pull this one up. Let's NIT again. Hold on, get out of the way.
And while you're pulling it up, you're right though, and you mentioned it earlier how for the Division I tournament, everybody in America is going to fill out a bracket, right? The people that haven't watched the game all year, the people who have no idea about it, they're going to fill out a bracket, and they think that's the only thing that's going on. But there's so many other tournaments, like we said, all the JUCO tournaments, the Division II, Division III, NAIA. Now the NIT, the CBI. I mean, there's so many good games that people should be watching, and it's not just the Division Ones, And then I think that's you and I both coming up through this thing. It is definitely special to recognize these teams too.
Yeah, it's just so important. I don't think I've done a great job of knowing all of it. I just kind of follow it, but so I'm not like the detailed person to break everything down, but definitely great to be able to just see all the different levels that are out there as far as postseason play and give that recognition. Like just within JUCO, there's Division I, Division II, Division III, which you brought up that point, which I'm glad you did. I kind of plan on bringing it up too, and I came up through the Division III JUCO ranks, so to be able to show some recognition to those guys is awesome. So yeah, CBI kind of straight to the point. I think this is the entire bracket. It may be only one side. I'll check if
right.
not.
16 team tournament. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. One side is not as deep, but so you look at the NIT and the CBI, like all of these events are hard to get into and have a chance to play and win. And like again, you got to go. It's a true road game. So you got to go on the road. But these are invitational tournaments. These are not tournaments where you just can sign up and say, hey, we want to go play postseason. So you look at Drake. We know how good Drake is. They were the kind of Wyoming, Colorado State, Murray State type of team for much of last year, undefeated to start the year last year. Had a lot of those guys back. They've had a really good year. So they're the number one seed in this entire event. Middle Tennessee won their side of the Conference USA. Second seed, Ohio, very good team as well, 20-plus win team. They were in the tournament last year. 3 seed, Stephen F. Austin, I believe I mentioned them earlier. They tied for WAC, tied for a championship in the WAC. So they're a 4 seed. Number 5 seed is Florida Atlantic, which had a good year in Conference USA. 6 seed, I believe Seattle's in this as well. 6 seed, I can't find the 6 seed. Maybe I'm missing that, but maybe it's a little bit lower on the bracket.
Yeah.
Anybody sticks out to you on there? Yeah, there's a 6 seed. Abilene Christian 6 seed, which went all the way to the championship game of the WAC. So got them on there. 7, UNC Greensboro. 8, VMI. 9, UNCW. 10 is Boston University. 11 is Troy. Had a good year in the Sun Belt. 12 is Northern Colorado, another team I'm biased to. I got to broadcast their home games. They went to the championship as well in the Big Sky, and extremely talented offensive team. Coach Steve Smiley does an outstanding job. 13 is UNC Asheville. 14 is Rice. 15 Cal Baptist out of the WAC. 16 Purdue Fort Wayne. So yeah, there's the CBI. Anything that stands out to you on that? I want to say there's another, maybe there's not another side. I could have swore that Seattle was in it as well from the WAC, but I could be wrong. But go ahead and anything that sticks out to you, team wise.
Obviously, Drake is really good, and Drake in this tournament, is going to have a chance to win it. But here's what I love about the CBI. You're giving teams a chance to play in the postseason.
Yep.
Teams work so hard all year long. You don't make the NCAAs. You don't make the NIT. It doesn't matter. You're still playing postseason basketball. It's good for teams to keep going. It's good for coaches to keep playing with their teams. You know what? To be honest, it's good for recruiting. You made the postseason. What'd you mean? We played in the postseason. Look, we played in March. We played till the end of March. And I think that can only help with recruiting. There's some really good teams left. Obviously, you talk about bias. I'm biased. You got Boston University in there. I'm a Boston guy. Coach Jones has done a great job there. So, hopefully they can make a run. But again, these are all good teams. And like you said, it's, an invitational. You don't just sign up to go play.
Yep.
You gotta be pretty good to play. So I just, just more postseason basketball. I think is great for these teams.
Yep. I agree. It's great. And thinking about a few programs, and there's been many that won these things, but there's a lot of programs that, whether it's year 1 or year 3 or whatever it is, if you can have some success in the postseason, it's something to talk about, something to sell in recruiting, but it's also something to help build momentum for your program. I can think about, and I feel like I'm probably maybe too biased to these two programs, but like North Texas, when they first got the job, they won it, I want to say, in year 1, and it led to them having postseason success and winning championships. And next thing you know, they're getting in NCAAs, winning Conference USA, and beating Purdue in the first round. So those things can steamroll into that. Same thing with kind of Northern Colorado's program. Jeff Linder was the coach when they were there. They won CBI as well, and then he later goes on to go to Wyoming and take them to the tournament. So all these things kind of play into building that momentum for your program. And like you said, having postseason success is a big deal. And if you can say you won a championship, none of these teams are signing up to lose. I can tell you that much. So, So I think that's all we got. We're gonna do another fun show where we're just gonna dive into jobs only. So this Hoop Talk version will be a little basketball talk. Next episode will be talking about the stuff that so many people care about this time of year, which is jobs. So without further ado, thanks so much. My host is the man. We'll be right back wearing the same stuff, and you'll see us in